Greetings, salutations, and welcome to Sportslook, the sports television program for the high plains of West Texas and eastern New Mexico. I'm your host, Doc Elder, and because we love sports of all sorts, we're going to have Brent Owen, the head coach of Greyhound men's basketball. We're going to have Albert Flinn. He's the head coach of Greyhound Rodeo. Qiqi and Scott will give us a high school spotlight. I'll finish up with an overtime, but as always, I'll start out with an Eastern recap. Greyhound baseball played the number 13 team in the nation last weekend, and while they did lose all 3 games to Angelo State, they were extremely competitive in the getaway game. Speaking of getaway games, the Greyhound softball team played 4 games last weekend, and lo and behold, they got their first win of the season in the getaway game against Midwestern State, beating the Lady Mustangs 10-4. Well, that has been your Eastern recap, so we'll clear the set and we'll bring in our first guest, Brent Owen from Greyhound men's basketball, right now. Welcome back to Sportslook, and a privilege to bring back to the set of Sportslook the head coach of Greyhound men's basketball, Brent Owen. And Coach, you actually got to play some basketball.
We played basketball games in Portales, New Mexico. So exciting, so exciting.
What was the process by which these games came about?
Yeah, so we actually had to go through the NCAA and apply for a waiver. It's called a legislative relief waiver because you're not allowed to play any outside competition outside of your normal calendar season. So through the help of Matt Grayrock and Matt Billings, we were able to approach the NCAA, kind of gave them our case, presented our case on why we felt like this would be appropriate. One of them being that we had a 93-day break, from November until they came back in the second semester. So I know that was a big reason why they granted it. On top of not being able to play our regular season, but countable athletic related activity is a big deal to the NCAA. And so that 93-day break in countable athletic-related activity was a huge reason why they allowed the waiver. So once we had the waiver, we had to find somebody else that wanted to play, outside of their normal season too. And obviously there were several people, several teams that weren't able to play a complete season. If whether it be because they had games canceled due to COVID or just had a shortened schedule. We were really looking for non-NCAA teams. Just because if we played another NCAA team, they would have had to get the waiver as well and would have taken some time. So we were able to schedule a couple teams and got 2 games in last week, and it was great for us.
So who did you play?
I played Wayland Baptist, and they do a really good job, good NAIA program over there. We went over there and visited their place on Tuesday, and then they came back to our place and played in Greyhound Arena on Thursday. Obviously, still paying very close attention to all the COVID protocols and being safe. They had to test before they could, come over here and play. We're still testing 3 times a week right now. So we're able to keep everybody safe and healthy and able to get 2 good games in. Really good experience for us.
Coach, that had to be agonizing, just sitting there, just hoping that you'd be able to play again. I can imagine that everybody was just extremely excited when they found out you could play.
Yeah, for sure. The team was very, very excited. They didn't care who we were going to play. We could have scheduled a game with a biddy ball team down the street, and I think they would have been excited. But yeah, it was a great morale booster for us for sure. Just it also really helped us this spring because we would have been doing individual workouts and just really focused on player development, which we'd kind of already gotten enough of that being in groups of 5 for so long. But this gave us the opportunity. Not only did the waiver include games, but it included, instead of 8 hours a week, we were allotted 20 hours a week to be able to practice, and we were allowed to go, basically full practice for, as much time as we needed throughout the week. So that really that helped us a lot. And then just some things we were able to do some things that probably we wouldn't have done had we not been preparing for an actual game, so like putting in out of bounds plays and talking about zone offense and things like that. And so I just think that doing all of that now will really help us put us in a better position for the fall. When you have returners who have already seen it once, and they can help the incoming guys kind of learn learn the system. That really helps us as coaches.
Obviously, in the game of basketball, you've got to be able to shoot. You got to be able to play defense. You got to pass the ball. You got to rebound. You got to shoot your free throws. What graded out the highest in those games against Wayland?
I'm gonna go a little bit deeper than just we've been talking about, we want to perfect our product. Okay. So I listen to a lot of podcasts. I don't listen to a lot of music when I'm on the road anymore. I'm more of a podcast guy. And I was listening to Elon Musk speak, and, they asked him, why are you so successful? And he said, I think a lot of companies, they get sidetracked and they go into boardrooms and they talk about charts and graphs and statistics. And, we really just try to focus on making the best electric car we can possibly make. And we think that the rest will kind of take care of itself. And one of the things that I think we have to focus on is just the ability and skill to play hard, just all the time playing hard. And I would grade that. I'm not going to say we're perfect there, but that exceeded my expectations. Those guys really, really played hard, and they played tough. We were actually in a really close game on Tuesday, and pulled out a win. And I know that was kind of a relief. They had some struggles with that last season, and I just could kind of sense it in the locker room. They're like, man, we won a close game. Like this is positive. So I would say the thing that I was most impressed with was just how hard they played and kind of their poise and kind of a tough situation in our first game together.
And I'll flip the coin and I'll say, what was the one thing that you'd clearly like to see some improvement?
We got to shoot the ball better, Doc. We got to really shoot the ball better. And part of that comes new offense. They don't really know where their shots are coming from yet. They've got to kind of figure some of that out. Our passing to our shooters has got to get a little bit better, and then flat out our shooting's got to get better. And we talked about that quite a bit. I see a part of it is the gyms have been limited access. A big part of our culture that we want to build is we have 3 rules, and the third rule is enjoy playing basketball. You have to follow that rule to be a part of our program. We want guys that want to be in the gym all the time, and guys that we have a shooting machine called the Gun. It rebounds for you. We want to wear that thing out. If I ever see that net worn out, or we have to buy a new net, then we're probably gonna have a really good shooting team. So, but so far with limited access, they haven't been able to really do that. Now things are starting to open up. We're able to get in the gym a little bit more, but we've got to start wearing that gun down to where hopefully we have to send that to the shop and get it fixed because it's worn out. But we'll improve that. We also have a couple scholarships open. That we'll use for some recruiting, and it'll need to fulfill that requirement of being a good shooter.
Well, that's why you're going to be a great head coach, because you can anticipate it. I was just going to ask you, how many of the kids that played against Wayland Baptist will be back for you, and how many openings do you have?
I plan on all of them being back. We do have 2 openings right now, so 2 scholarships, and where Coach Vo is on the road right now. He's in Hutchinson, Kansas at the Junior College National Tournament. So he drove, I think, 8 or 9 hours to get there. And then he's got a tough boss, so he's going to have to drive another 9 hours to get to Danville, Illinois for the Division II Junior College National Tournament. So he's in Hutchinson for Monday and Tuesday, then he's in Danville, Illinois for Wednesday and Thursday, and then he's got to make the, I think, 17-hour trip back home here. But he's out there working his tail off, and has, we communicate constantly throughout the day. He's got a lot of good leads on players, and there's some other guys that we've been recruiting throughout the year that we feel pretty good about. So I'm excited. It'll be so exciting once we have that recruiting class brought in to mix them with these guys this fall and really get to work and know that we have a full season ahead of us and something to prove.
And what are you specifically looking for? Are you just trying to get the best available, or are there like 2 specific positions you really need to recruit to?
I would say we need a point guard and we need a wing. Those are the 2 positions that we're really, really, really heavy on right now. So yeah, the wing has got to have some length and be able to guard, really defend the perimeter. Got to be able to shoot. The point guard has got to be tough, hard-nosed defender. He's got to be able to run the team. Got to be a great creator and passer, and be willing to get other people open, but still be able to shoot the ball himself. So, 100 other things beyond that in terms of character and fit, and again, enjoying playing basketball and things of that nature. But that's what we're on the trail looking hard for.
And looking at the team that played against Wayland Baptist, the team that's going to come back, who is your vocal leader on the team? Who is your lead by example player on the team, or is it one and the same?
Yeah, I think Garrick Sherrod is a pretty clear vocal leader. He works hard, coaches guys up, holds himself accountable. Yasnir Kobus does a good job vocally. I'd say the lead by example guy right now, Nico Basanakis, a freshman, is actually doing a really good job of that. He's in the gym a lot. He goes hard a lot. He's definitely not perfect yet, but I think he plays really hard and he understands that he's a freshman and he needs to be listening more than talking. But going hard all the time, getting in the gym all the time, getting in the weight room all the time, he's been excellent at that. So I think he's setting a good example and obviously doing well in the classroom too. So excited that he's part of our program.
Well, Coach, I'm glad you got a chance to play some ball games, and I can't wait to broadcast ball games next year that are going to count in the Lone Star Conference standings.
Absolutely, we're excited. A lot going on right now. It feels good to be working. I've been on the road, been watching film till midnight. The governor and President Caldwell and Matt are finally getting their money's worth out of me, so it's feels good and looking forward to an exciting fall and hope that everyone will come out and really support our program. Love hearing a lot about the student crowd and really looking forward to getting on campus and getting after those guys to get to our game. So hopefully we'll be back to normal and things will be looking up.
Well, Coach, congratulations on staying the course, as the expression goes, and best of luck moving forward.
Thank you very much.
Well, that is going to wrap up the first interview segment. So what we'll do is we'll clear the set and we'll cue up a high school spotlight right now.
Welcome back, sports fans, to the latest edition of High School Spotlight. I'm your co-host, Scott Haas.
And I'm Kitana Sapinga.
And tonight, we're bringing you the highlights of the matchup between the Pecos Panthers and the Texico Wolverines.
Texico tried to keep up throughout the game, but Pecos' defense is what put the nail in the coffin.
That's right, Qiqi, so why don't we jump into some of those highlights.
In this first play, we got Pecos repping that green and gold, starting off strong with an assist by number 1, Trinity Herrera, to number 20, Mr. Don Roybal.
Following that play, we see some more teamwork by those two as Herrera finds Roybal as she puts up 2 more points.
It's Pecos at the rim, but this time with number 22, Savannah Ortiz, contributing to the Panthers' 6-point run in just the first quarter.
Texico finally got involved here with a shot by number 1, Rachel Phipps.
But the Panthers quickly answered back with the swish by number 5, Alexis Gonzalez.
Phipps showing off some handles here. She found number 32, Aniki Duma, who then passed it to number 34, Riley Roback, who made the close-up shot for Texico. Pecos was still up 11-6 at the end of the first quarter.
After some tension at the rim, Phipps is able to make the first score of the second quarter for Texico.
The Wolverines showing off some teamwork here as number 2, Jackie Posada, threw it to Phipps, who found Roback again and made the easy layup.
Pecos said, "We can do it better." Here we see the ball make its way around the court and end up with Gonzalez, who put up another swish from behind the 3-point line.
On this possession, a turnover is made as Pecos' Herrera stole the ball and executed an effortless layup.
The Wolverines responded as Posada easily found number 5, Cassidy Hakma, who put up 2 points on the board.
Another Texico turnover is committed, and Pecos' number 21, Natalia Stout, was there to pick it up. Going into halftime, the Panthers were still leading 20-14.
Coming out of halftime, Pecos continued their momentum with an assist by Stout and a layup by Ortiz.
Texico made this look easy as Duma found Rohrback for the easy shot.
Pecos was just eating up on these turnovers as Herrera is there yet again making the shot before falling to the floor.
Herrera is on fire in this play. We see her steal the ball from Texico's number 4, Lizzie Corley, and then execute a perfect layup for the Panthers.
However, that didn't faze Corley as she made an open shot for Texico.
Here we go again. It's Herrera for the Panthers with another layup at the rim.
On this Texico possession, it's Duma for the layup.
Pecos' Stout struggled to stay on her feet, but nonetheless made the shot. The Panthers were up 46 with the Wolverines at 23.
In the final quarter, Pecos put their foot on the gas and did not let up. Number 2, Christina Ragland, got in on the action and scored 2 points for the Panthers.
Following that play, number 12, Alexia Herrera, put up a wide-open shot for the Panthers.
The Texico Wolverines kept it simple here as number 45, Anahi Vargas, waited for the pass and scored a point.
Pecos kept it pushing in after getting around 2 Texico defenders. Number 23, Dominique Salinas, found the basket.
Ragland wanted more, and after an assist from her teammate, she made the final shot of the night. The final score was Texico 29 and Pecos 58. That's all the highlights we have for you tonight. Before we throw it back to Doc, make sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, like our Facebook page, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more photos, updates, and highlights. Once again, I'm your co-host, Kitana Sapinga.
And I'm Scott Haas, and we'll catch you guys next week.
Welcome back to Sportslook. Thanks to Qiqi and Scott for that look at Texico and Pecos and girls basketball. And now we bring to the set of Sportslook Coach Albert Flinn, the head coach of Greyhound men's and women's rodeo. And Coach, couldn't have been a much better rodeo for your squads on Saturday, Thursday, and Friday if you had tried.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, the coach was smart enough to pick the right girls on the team this week. And Stacey Moore won the barrel race, and Madeline Sowers split the goat tying, and we gathered up 335 points, and the next team had 181 and a third or something like that. So had a really good weekend.
And for the guys, one guy in particular got himself positioned pretty well in the region.
Yeah, Trey Johnson, Jackson, he is in the steer wrestling. He's done well all fall and spring. Is 1 or 2 rodeos he didn't place at, but he had a good weekend, and he's back in the lead. And we go to Tarleton, the last rodeo, and it'll just be up to him and the young man that's behind him and see who can. The main thing he has to do is make the short round Saturday, and then he has a chance of holding his lead. If you don't make it to the short round, then it's up to what the other boy does. So
you'd rather control your own destiny.
Absolutely, right.
Well, Coach, what was it like? I mean, obviously you had been having great success last year, and then you find out you're not going to be able to finish up the year of competition, and then you find out this year that you're not going to be able to compete in the fall. What was that like for you? What was that like for your competitors?
Well, it was tough. The girl that won the goat tying this last weekend, she won the region and didn't get to go to the college finals, and so she came back and worked through the fall, and now the spring. We had 6 rodeos in the spring instead of 5 because we canceled ours in the fall and went to Levelland, Texas to put our rodeo on. It was our 55th year have an NIRA rodeo, and so that helped us, and I think right now our girls' team's about 7th or 8th and spotting everybody else for rodeos. So we're doing pretty well. But I'm hoping to get those 2 girls to Casper. Madeline's 3rd right now. She has to, kind of like Trey, she has to hold her position, and Stacey just has to kind of have another good weekend and get past the number 3 girl. And if I can get to Casper with those 3 girls, or 2 girls and Trey, well, I'll feel pretty good about our year. And
obviously, you had to do a really good job of keeping your competitors motivated, but it really says a lot about these individuals that they could keep themselves motivated and just hope that they were going to get a chance.
Yeah, it's pretty much an individual sport, even though it's team. It's as much individual because all of them are working towards getting themselves to the college finals, regardless if they get put on the team for the weekend or not. And so it's just dedication. And, you know, the fall was a little different, not being able to use the arena there at school and having to transport livestock somewhere else where they could practice and a few things like that. And the girls had goats at home and practice, so it was different, obviously, and we hope this is turned around, and in the fall we'll have our rodeo again beginning the 16th of September, and we should be good to go.
It had to be weird having the College Days rodeo, but having it in Level Land, Texas. So how did that all come about? How were you able to have the rodeo there?
Well, Kerry Osborne, the coach at Level Land, was able to get there was a free weekend open for the Mallet Event Center, and that happened to be a weekend that was free for the college rodeos. So he helped us quite a bit to be able to get in there on that weekend and move everything. We had individual gentlemen that went over there and helped us. All the teams in the region helped us. They all took part. Each one of them took a job and completed it. But the people that I took with me, they opened the gates. At 6 o'clock in the morning, we had to start sorting livestock for the short round. And so when you have your own people there, well, it's easy to ask them to be there at 6 in the morning. And so it was different because we weren't used to the facilities. Even though they were very good, we just had to make do. And they were great facilities for us to work our cattle and stuff in. But
you know, I've never asked you this question before. In some sports, there's a rivalry where you don't talk to players from the other team, or if you do, it's just a trash talk. But yet in other sports, it's like you're going to try and do your best, they're going to try and do your best, and you don't really have any animosity. You're just friendly competitors. Is rodeo more of that?
It's more of that. You know, to give you an example, the horse that Madeline was riding belonged to another young lady going to school at Stephenville. She loaned her horse to her ride, and she had been riding Maddie Wells's horse, but that horse was either sore or something. But she showed up and used Mary Reese, loaned her horse, and you look at the steer wrestling. You got boys from the other school hazing for your boy, and Trey's hazing for other boys from the other region, and so it's a kind of a knit group of individuals all helping each other. They're going to do their best to beat you with what they have, but they're willing to help you do whatever it takes.
And I think, and I'm not just saying it because you were nice enough to be my guest tonight, but from the rodeo kids, boys and girls that I've had in class, it seems like you're not going to recruit somebody who's going to be a loner, going to be kind of a bad actor.
No, pretty much. We try to recruit based on ACT scores, cumulative GPAs, students. You know, this year I'm going to lose probably 11 girls and 2 boys, and going to start over, and I'm going to be short. Other than I've got 2 or 3 of them girls that's going to come back, and I think one of them maybe is going to work on a master's degree, and the other 2 are going to just come back. They got a year left, so they're going to, which is going to help me with my numbers. But I've only recruited about 6 girls, 2 boys, and a lot of it has to do not being able to come to school, other kids not knowing what New Mexico's going to let us do. You know, it's just a weird year for recruiting, and some of the kids at junior colleges that I'd been working on, they elected to want to go somewhere else, and so it's been a tough year to recruit. But I think we'll still have a nucleus of good students. And basically that's what my program is designed for, is the students to come, get an education, graduate, walk across the stage. And what they win at the rodeos is the icing on the cake. And that's kind of the way we approach our program.
Well, Coach, congratulations on the great showing by your ladies at the Western College Rodeo. Good luck in the upcoming rodeo, and let's hope that the College National Finals Rodeo sees 2 young ladies and 1 young man from Eastern.
That'd be great. Thank you, sir.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
Well, that is going to wrap up the interview segment of Sportslook. So what we'll do is we'll clear this out, and I'll finish up with an overtime right now. On Tuesday, as I watched the verdict in the Derek Chauvin case, I thought to myself that 100 years from now in 2121, this trial is still going to be a really big story. Interestingly, if you look back 100 years ago to 1921, it was a trial that was also the big story, and it was a trial that involved professional athletes, specifically 8 guys from the Chicago White Sox. The case devolved from the 1919 World Series, when the White Sox were prohibitive favorites to win the World Series, and inexplicably lost the World Series to the Cincinnati Reds. Well, even while the World Series was going on, there were people who said they could figure out why the White Sox were losing. They were losing because they were trying to lose. And the suspicion was that they had been paid to throw those ball games. Sure enough, an investigation ensued, and it was pretty overwhelming that the Chicago White Sox, at least 8 of them, had accepted money to throw ball games. Evidence including testimony and sworn statements by 3 of the 8 Chicago White Sox. And yet, when they were put on trial in 1921, the jury found them not guilty, which proves one thing: it's impossible to find an impartial juror in Chicago when it comes to sports. Well, that is going to wrap up in overtime, and that will wrap up an episode of Sportslook. I'd like to thank my guests, Brent, Owen, and Albert Flinn. I'd like to thank Qiqi and Scott for the high school spotlight. Speaking of Qiqi, she was also my floor director. So for all those aforementioned people, this is Doc Elder saying, so long.